Welcome to Flow. Let's get started. Today we'll start lying down. Bring your legs long and heavy in front of you. Bring your arms down by your side. Allow your eyes to close and take a few moments just to arrive into your body. Begin to connect with your breath. Feel the movement and expansion of each breath in and out. And now bend your knees, bring your feet so they're flat, and bring your feet and your knees together. You can bend your elbows and dig your elbows into the ground. Now really crush the thighs together and lift your hips so they come 1 inch up off the ground. And then lower your hips down. And we're gonna do that 10 times, just starting to find a little more activation into the back body here, especially into the glutes and the hamstrings. So this is not a full bridge pose. You're just thinking of lifting the hips like 1 inch up off the ground, continually finding that squeeze of your inner thighs, and then lower the hips down with control. And just take this at your own pace, moving through 10 times. And after your 10th time, hold your hips up, lift your right foot so it comes just 2 inches up off the mat, and then lower and lift your hips once again. So now your left foot is bearing all of the weight. We take this about 10 times. The right foot doesn't have to be up super high. We're just activating and charging through your left glute, your left hamstring. Make sure you're not rolling onto the outer edge of your left foot, but you're really feeling the pressure of your left big toe into the ground. Just a small range of motion. After your 10th one, swap sides so the right foot stays down, the left leg will lift a couple of inches, and then just start to lift and lower your hips up off the ground. And again, you might notice if you're kind of rolling onto the outer edge of your right foot, really try to press your right big toe down into the ground. Nice control here. We don't have to move super fast. Spread your toes as you lift and lower your hips. And then after your 10th set, bring your left foot back down to the mat. Bend both of your knees into your chest. Bring your hands behind your thighs. Rock and roll yourself all the way up to a tabletop position. Bring your shoulders right over your wrists, your hips over your knees, and extend your right leg back long behind you. Lift your right leg up off of the ground and then bend your right heel towards your right glute and then extend. And we'll take this 10 times total. As you're moving through, try to keep everything else in your body very, very still. So the hips are still, the lower back is still. You start to feel the activation of your right hamstring and try to really get your right heel as close to your right glute as you can. This is all about finding activation in the back body, especially through the hamstrings and the glutes. This is going to bring a lot of power to your legs for your jumps. After your 10th time, keep the leg bent and then option with your left hand, try to grab your right foot. Tabletop dancer pose, kick your foot into your hand. You can find a little more of an arch for this one. Maybe you lift your gaze up, really press down through your bottom right hand. Try not to slingshot as you release. Reach your left fingertips forward and your right foot back. Hold here and then lower everything back down. We set up the opposite side. Send your left leg back. Keep your 2 hips square. Lift your left leg up and then bend your heel towards your glute and extend. And keep working through this 10 times. Try to stay as stationary and stable as you can in the rest of your body. So the back isn't sagging. You're really pressing both of your hands into the ground. Stay nice and long through the back of your neck. Your core is constantly engaged here to support the lower back. Try to bring your heel as close to your glute as you can. You start to feel that pull in the left hamstring. And then after your 10th set, keep your knee bent. Option to take your right hand to the instep of your left foot and then kick your foot into your hand for a tabletop dancer. Really plug your left palm down into the ground. Maybe bring your gaze forward. And then release with control. Extend your right arm forward, extend your left leg back. Give yourself one more big breath here. And come back to your tabletop position. From tabletop, step both of your legs back and come to a high plank position. Starting to find a little bit of heat in the core. Think of getting nice and long through the back of your neck. Spread your fingers wide and then lower all the way down onto your belly. Bring your hands wider than your mat, tent your fingers, and then press yourself up to a little cobra shape. Now from here, bend your heels towards your glutes and then extend. And we're gonna take this 10 times total. So with this cobra shape, this back bend, come to your own range of motion. You don't have to lift your chest super high. Again, we're finding the focus and the strength of your back body, especially into the hamstrings and the glutes. As you lift your legs, try to flex your feet, and then you can release your feet as you lower them down. Your chest doesn't have to be up super high. You can lower down, you can bend your elbows. Just finding this constant activation. Don't want to feel too deep of a pinch through the lower back. And after your 10th, hold the bend of the knees and just pulse your heels to your glutes for 10 sets. Tiny little sets. You can lower your heart down a little bit more if you need. And then release everything down. Press into your hands, send the hips back into a child's pose. Bring your forehead down to the ground and just breathe here. Feel the expansion of your breath all along your back body. Bring yourself up to tabletop, flip your toes, and find downward facing dog. Take a few moments of breath in downward facing dog. Just feel that nice length through the backs of your legs. And now start to walk your feet up towards your fingers. Bring your feet about hips width distance apart, bend your knees, and roll yourself all the way up to stand. Think of stacking through the vertebrae, stacking through the spine. Shoulders, chin, and gaze will be last to arrive. Once you arrive at the top, give yourself a few shoulder rolls, bring your hands to your hips, and shift all of your weight to your left foot. Bend your right knee. Now think of attaching your knees, flex your right foot a lot, and then start to press your right foot just like 2 inches back behind you. Now as you're doing this, you can have a little bit of a bend with your bottom knee. Try not to arch too much through your lower spine. Instead, think of almost tucking your tailbone under to lengthen a little bit more through your lower spine. And you're just continuing to press the foot straight back behind you. You'll feel a little more engagement into the right glute and into the right hamstring. Now, after your 10th set of that, start to pull your right heel towards your glute. And again, we're gonna do 10 of these. I know we start to get a little fatigued on that supporting leg as well. If you need to be next to a wall or something to help you balance, you can find that. Try to find a little moment of hold as you bring the heel to your seat. So you can take just an extra moment of engagement through the right hamstring. After your 10th time, pull your heel to your glute. Now take your right hand to the instep of your right foot. Reach your left arm up overhead. Option to stay right here, or option to kick the foot into your hand and come into a variation of a dancer pose. So really kick the back foot into your hand. Think of finding that nice lift through your chest, through your torso. Take a few more moments of breath here. Keep your right leg lifted. Bring your hands to heart center. Bring your torso down. Bend your right knee, flex your foot, and just pulse the bottom of your foot up to the ceiling. We take about 10 little pulses here. Have a small bend of your bottom knee. Make sure both of your hip bones are pointing straight down to the ground. And now after your 10th, bring yourself into a standing split. Bring your hands down. Extend your right leg as much as you can. Find a little bit of relief there. And we'll take just a few pulses with your right leg at the top. So just think of this like a 6-inch range of motion. You can always have a little bit of a bend through your bottom knee and just pulsing up and up about 10 times. Feeling a little bit of extra activation in your right glute. And then bend your right knee, find a forward fold. Bend through both of your knees here, roll yourself all the way up to stand. And we'll set all of that up on your second side. So once you come up again, you can give yourself a little shoulder roll. Bring your hands so they come to your hips. Shift your weight to your right foot. Bend your left knee. Attach your knees together. Now think of finding that length through your lower back and start to press your left foot so it comes directly behind you. And these are very small motions. So similar to when we were in our tabletop shape, nothing else in your body should be moving. Just the thigh and the foot pressing straight back, and then coming back knee to knee. Think of like a 2-inch range of motion. And think of pressing back, holding for a moment, and then bringing the knees back together. Nice and tall through the crown of your spine. After your 10th time, start to bend your heel towards your glute. So this is again going to activate that pull in your left hamstring. Keep a little bit of a bend with your bottom knee. I know that right leg, that bottom leg starts to get a little bit fatigued. Continue to use your core to support your lower spine. And after your 10th set, keep your heel pulled to your glute, and with your left hand, grab the instep of your left foot. Now reach your right arm up, start to kick your left foot into your left hand, and bring your chest forward, coming into a dancer pose. Continually kick your foot into your hand, lift your chest up. Breathe here. It's a balance, it's a back bend, lots happening. Continue to kick the foot into your hand. And then slowly bring your hands to heart center. Keep your left foot up. Flex your left foot a lot and start to press your left foot up towards your ceiling. Square both of your hips down to the ground. We take about 10 little presses here. Try to stay long through your spine. And again, you've got that soft little bend through your bottom knee. Lots of control happening here after your 10th set. Bring your hands down, find your standing split, lift your left leg up into the air. Continue to try to square your hips down to the ground. And here we'll take little pulses with the top leg. So just start to lift and lower your top leg. Think of that extra squeeze in your left glute. Very small range of motion, maybe like 6 inches. Try to stay very controlled. Think of using muscle and not momentum. Could have a little bit of a bend with your bottom knee if you need it. Just one last little extra blast for your left glute. And then bend your top left knee, find your forward fold, and release yourself back down. Bend your knees again and roll yourself all the way up to stand. And then once you're here, we're going to move into some elephant walks just to lengthen through the backs of your thighs. Flex your right foot in front of you and start to sweep your arms down, forward, and up, and then just switch. So just switching from side to side. We'll take this about 3 to 5 times each side. You can go as quickly or slowly as feels good in your body. Just moving into an active stretch of your hamstrings into the backs of your legs. This can even hit into your calf muscle as your foot is flexed up. And just keep moving. Try to maintain a flat spine as much as you can. So if you can't get your chest all the way down to your thigh, that's okay. Take about one more set here, once each side. And then move back into a forward fold. Just release your body down, chin to chest. Step your feet back into a plank pose. And lower all the way down onto your belly. Bring your hands underneath your forehead like a pillow so your elbows are wide. And then bend your right knee and flex your right foot up towards the ceiling. And just start to press your right foot up towards the ceiling. Very slow, very controlled. We take this about 10 times. And as you're doing this, try to keep the rest of your body really still and really quiet. Activate through the right glute, activate through the right hamstring. Your core should also be engaged here to support the lower spine. After your 10th time, just release your right leg and we'll just go right into the opposite side. Bend your left knee, flex your left foot, and start to press the bottom of your foot up to the ceiling. Imagine a lot of resistance for yourself. Like you're really trying to press the ceiling up and away. Keep both of your hip bones glued down to the mat. It might be kind of tempting to lift that left hip up, but try to keep it glued down. It's not about the height of the leg here. We want to think more about the activation of the left glute and the left hamstring. Nice controlled movement. And then after your 10th time, bend both of your knees. Bring your heels together and then flex your feet. So you're kind of in this diamond shape. Now press your heels into each other and start to lift your knees and then lower. So again, it doesn't matter how high your knees can get up off the ground, even if it's just a millimeter. Think of squeezing through the glutes, activating through the hamstrings to lift and lower the knees. And we take this about 10 times to add on something a little extra. Really actively press your heels together. That will engage the glutes just a teensy bit more. Keep pressing your heels together And on your final lift, just find little pulses up to the ceiling. We take about 10 pulses here. Try to keep your knees lifted. And after your 10 pulses, release your legs, find a child's pose. Another opportunity just to lengthen through your spine. Breathe into the space. And now slowly walk your hands back towards your knees. Roll yourself up. Swing your legs so they come around and in front of you. You just come to sit on your hips. Extend your legs long. Lift your arms up overhead and then release your body up and over your legs. Just a final opportunity to lengthen through your hamstrings. We did a lot of strengthening there, so we want to find a nice juicy lengthener at the end. Find full big breaths in and out. Every exhale, allow your torso to get a little heavier. And then slowly start to roll yourself up. We'll end in a cross-legged position. Cross your ankles, bring your hands to rest on your knees. Your palms can point down or up. Maybe allow your eyes to close or find a soft gaze. And just take a few final moments here with your breath. Feel your butt bones plug down, feel your spine grow nice and long. Thank you for joining us today. And that's your flow.